All right, let's talk about the end. Not just any end, but the final chapter of a contract. You know, how an agreement officially wraps up. It's something most of us only really think about when things go sideways. So let's dive in. You know that feeling, right? You finished a huge project, you've delivered the final piece, but there's still this nagging question in the back of your mind. So are we good? Is this thing actually over? That little bit of uncertainty is exactly what we're tackling today. You see, every contract story has to end, but not all endings are the same. We're going to look at the two big ones. First, the clean, simple, perfect ending that everybody wants. And then we're going to get into the messy one, which, let's be honest, is a lot more common. So let's kick things off with the best-case scenario, the one everybody hopes for when they sign on the dotted line. In legal terms, this is called discharge by performance, and honestly, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's really that simple. You promised to do a thing, the other side promised to do a thing, and guess what? You both did the thing. Mission accomplished. The contract has served its purpose, and it basically just disappears. The whole process is super logical. You make a deal, everybody does their part, all the boxes are checked, and poof, the contract is finished. It's a clean, four-step journey straight to the finish line. And this, right here, is the magic of it. Once it's done, it is done. There are no lingering duties, no hidden clauses that can come back to bite you. It's just closure, total and complete. And this isn't just some textbook theory. Check out this real case between an insurance company and their client. They had a disagreement, but eventually everyone did what the contract said they had to do. The big question that went to court was, okay, now that we've all done our jobs, can one of us come back and ask for more? The Supreme Court's answer? A huge, definitive no. This quote says it all, doesn't it? Once the promises are kept, there's nothing left. No more rights, no more obligations. The story is over. Okay, so that was the fairy tale ending. But we all know life isn't always that neat. What happens when you owe someone money for, say, 3 different things, but you only send one payment? Where does that cash go? This is where it gets messy. This brings us to what I like to call the multiple debt puzzle. The official legal term for solving it is appropriation of payments, and it's actually a pretty cool system designed to bring order to potential chaos. At its heart, appropriation is just a rule book for directing money. So let's say you owe your supplier for an invoice from January, another from February, and a third from March. These rules are what figure out which of those bills your payment actually covers. So how do we solve this puzzle? Who gets to call the shots and say where the money goes? Well, thankfully, the law doesn't just leave it up to a coin toss. There's a really clear 3-step hierarchy that tells us exactly who's in charge. So let's walk through this pecking order. We're going to go from the person with the most power all the way down to the final safety net that the law itself provides. It's like a waterfall of decision-making. First up, the power is with the person paying the bill, the debtor. If you're sending the money, you get to say, hey, this is for that February invoice. You can write it on the check, send an email. As long as you make your intention clear, that's where the money has to go. Period. But what if you just send the money with no note, no instructions, nothing? Well, then the power shifts. The ball is now in the creditor's court. The person you owe the money to gets to decide which of your outstanding debts to apply it to. And what if nobody says anything? The debtor is quiet, and the creditor just cashes the check without applying it to a specific invoice. Well, the system has a failsafe. The law itself steps in with a default rule to make sure things are handled fairly and logically. You can kind of think of it like a simple decision tree. It's just a series of yes or no questions that perfectly maps out who gets to decide what and when. So what is this default rule? What's the law's big move when no one else makes one? Well, it's a super old and very famous principle called Clayton's Rule, and it's the foundation for how courts sort this stuff out. The law follows a really simple logic: first in, first out, or a FIFO. It means any payment you make will automatically go towards paying off your oldest debt first. It's the opposite of LIFO, or last in, first out, which generally isn't used because, well, paying off the old stuff first just makes more sense. And here it is, the official definition. Clayton's Rule says that in an ongoing account, any money coming in gets applied to the money that was owed first. It creates a predictable chronological order, which is exactly what you want in financial dealings. Okay, So we've looked at the clean ending and the messy one, but let's zoom out for a second. Why do these super specific rules about payments and performance actually matter in the real world? What's the big picture? This table really sums up the whole power structure beautifully. The main thing to see here is that this isn't random. It is a predictable system. It clearly lays out who gets to do what and in what order, which helps prevent arguments before they even start. So when you boil it all down, these rules aren't just legal jargon. They're the foundation for fairness and predictability in business. They stop confusion, they give us a roadmap for solving problems, and maybe most importantly, they help build the trust you need for any healthy financial relationship. And that leaves us with one final thought. We've got this detailed 3-step legal framework to handle payments. So does having a system this structured actually make our agreements fairer by getting rid of all the guesswork? Or does it just add another layer of complexity that can trip people up? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.